Well, hey everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for Thursday, the 17th day of June, 2020. Well, I think I'm going to wait on pulling the rune. I want to talk a little bit about what happened on Monday. We had Ingus and we had Fortuna Major as the runes. So the sudden release of new energy that brings expansion or greater fortune, maybe. The cards, we had a run with the first three on swords, on the suit of swords. So we had a run on swords. And so we had the Three of Swords, the Ten of Swords, and the Queen of Swords. So, and so that was, we interpreted that as betrayal leading to a shift in perception and the demand for integrity and truth. Then we had a challenge card of the Seven of Cups, which challenged us to keep our expectations realistic. And then I drew the benefit card of, what can help benefit the situation. The Four of Pentacles, which shows the king with his feet on two coins and holding one tightly here and one on his crown. And it's really a card of miserliness. The king turns his back, of course, to the kingdom, because that's what the kings all do. And so there he's basically hanging on to all of his wealth. Well, how does that benefit the Three of the betrayal, the light returning with the Ten of Swords and the shift of perception, and demanding truth and integrity? Well, I then drew another card, and it turned out to be the King of Pentacles. And so we had another king situation. And it dawned on me, it's like, well, the real benefit is understanding who betrayed you. And so it really, someone in authority basically has betrayed you. And so it was an interesting one. And normally I would be looking at that card with a different directionality. But then when the King of Pentacles reinforced the Four, it's like, oh, okay, we're looking at the betrayer. So anyway, that's where we stand today. And so let's go ahead and see what we can come up with. I'm going to have to shuffle quite a bit there, but we'll do the runes first. If this is your first time here, welcome, by the way. I hope you click subscribe. I guess we're all supposed to be clicking like as well. And so, who knew? Apparently likes matter. So like it. I hope you like it. And, you know, click the thumbs up and all that. Anyway, Perthro is our rune for today. This is fate. And who decides it? Are you going to decide your own fate? Or in the case of Perthro, is it the Norns who are going to decide the fate of humanity? Actually, it's more specifically men's fate. I think they realized the women could handle it, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, that's Perthro. It's the cup from which the dice are tossed or the runes are cast. It's who's going to define the future for each one of us. Are we going to have a hand in that? Or are we just going to give it over to somebody else or the circumstances of our lives, and we make no effort to try to, have some kind of an effect or impact on that? It's like, who decides? Like my granddaughter said to my son one time when she was 2, she turns 4 next month. She and her brother turns 2 next month, but as well, they're born 2 weeks apart. Well, 2 years and 2 weeks apart, I should say. But they their birthdays are 2 weeks apart. There we go. But she said to him, "You're not the boss of me, Dad. You're not the boss of me." And he's like, where are you hearing this? Anyway, Populus is the rune, geomancy rune for today. So again, you could look at this. Are you going to give your fate over to the group? Populus and Via are the two that complement one another, and Via would be a single line of dots, and that's your own path. You're taking a solitary path. You're making your own decisions. Is self-determination, all of that. It's a new path, a new journey. But with Populus, it means you're part of the crowd. And so it's a passive influence instead of an active influence. And so So are you going to passively give over your control of your own fate to someone else or to circumstances that are happening? Or are you going to take charge of it today? And with the betrayal, you know, that we talked about, and a shift in perception, it sounds like that's in fact what you're ready to do, is to take that leap and make your own decisions and determine what exactly has been happening. We'll see, though. We'll see if this is actually going to be a new reading or if this is going to dovetail into what happened on Monday. I just thought it was really interesting, you know, because what would benefit you the most with Monday's reading, Monday's understanding that betrayal has happened, is who it is that did it. You know, who was it? Because you don't always know. You know, with the three of swords, you're looking at 3 swords piercing a heart, but 2 sit behind the other center one. And so it can indicate that something like that's happening, that there's gossip happening, but it's behind your back. And so maybe you hadn't figured out who it was. And maybe Monday's reading told you that it's actually someone, you know, in authority. It maybe the boss even, or if it's I think if we look at it in terms of the former guy and all the lies he told and how he got the supporters to all believe them. Well, now there's some real consequences to that, isn't there? And so who's the betrayer? Well, it's the former guy. You see, that's who betrayed everybody, betrayed the country, even people who didn't support him. He betrayed everyone, right? So so I thought, well, maybe it's that, you know. But if not, then you're looking at somebody who's maybe in a somewhat of a position of authority over you that's been undermining you, perhaps. Maybe you're somebody who's an up-and-comer and your supervisor's threatened by that. You see, it could be something like that. And so rather than, you know, see that happen and maybe risk his or her position, you know, so it could be something like that. But let's take a look at the cards. We'll look at the first 3 and see what we have. Well, we start with the 7 of Wands. Wands is the fire element, so the will and creativity. Here you're standing your ground. And you're getting above it all, too, to do it. You're seeing what's down there. You see, with the 7, it's an observation number. You're letting things settle out. And here, that's what's happening. He's above it. He's taking a look at what's going on. He's standing his ground. He's not letting anybody advance any further. But you can see, you know, like right here, he's up on a cliff. It's kind of or precipice or something. But so he's going to stand his ground and defend what he has. So maybe we're in this the self-defense phase, you know, and that we're going to be the ones basically to decide our own fate as to whatever that was on Monday, however that applied to your life. Excuse me. Oh, the cottonwood is starting to fly. This is not good. Not good at all. Fortunately, I won't do another video until, well, unless it's for the Patreon folks. I won't do another video until Sunday. So hopefully, you know, I can breathe by then. But we'll see. But basically, you know, we're having to defend ourselves maybe against, now that we know who the betrayer is. Now we have to stand up for ourselves and make sure people understand that whatever's being said about us isn't true. I've been in that situation, and it's not a fun place to be, you know, because it's like the damage has already been done, and there's no way to get ahead of it, right? You just have to hope that what you say and what and your own reputation will carry you through, and it doesn't always do that. You know, people are going to see you the way they want to see you, and if there's a way to do it in a way for some people that's you know, not so good, then that's what they're going to choose. And so it could be that, you know, you're fighting a losing battle with it. But we'll see. Let's see what the next card is. Well, here you have the 2 of Wands. It may be, you know, this is like the doorway to new experiences. Anytime you see something that's 2, Okay, whether it's the towers or pillars or two trees, or you see maybe two sides of maybe like a pathway going through two cliffs or something, so you can see the rock faces going up. Anything that's like that, where you can see two of anything. The chariot, you see the two wheels of the chariot, and you also see in the background, you see a representation of two there. This is balance. This is taking the middle path. Okay. It's also a doorway. He's holding a globe. This guy here, he's likely a merchant. He's clearly a guy of means. He's not somebody that's, you know, that's destitute or anything. But it's like he's looking out over the ocean there into new experiences. He's created his own little doorway. There's a staff that's affixed to the wall there to his right and to our right as well. But he's holding the other one up and balanced, and he is sort of supported by that little partial wall there that's there. You see the is it the fleur de lis right there on it, I think? Yeah, or a type of lily. Very similar to that. This is about new experiences and new horizons. It's also about balanced energy or will, options. It could indicate some wealth, but a decision is being made. Where is he going to go? What's he going to do? Well, if you've stood your ground, maybe it's time to move on, you know, or maybe whatever's happened, you've been given your choice of positions in the company, maybe, you know. It just feels like this has to do with some kind of, if not career, new direction, maybe. So maybe this is signaling that a decision needs to be made. Now that you understand what's going on, you know who the betrayer is, you're standing your ground, and now you have to make a decision about what you're going to do. You know, maybe you've got a whole lot more options available to you than you realize. But at the bottom line of this, you have to determine your own fate. You can't let, you know, nasty people at work or people in your life do that for you. It's because, trust me, they're going to do this according to their own agenda. They're not going to do it according to anything that benefits you. So that's got to be you that does this. So as to who determines your faith with Perthro, it's got to be you. The Page of Pentacles now. Now pages are about they're about births, they're about messages, they're generally speaking students. So in the court, you're looking at page, knight, and then the queen, and then the king. And so the knight is going to be someone who's a little bit older, and they're off on their quest in protection of this or that, you know. But here you have a page of pentacles who's essentially, when you think pentacles, you think the earth element. And so here you would be thinking a spiritual focus and study, and pentacles, he would be reliable and dependable and conscientious, this young person. And it's like he's offering that to other people. So this could be that in terms of your new experience, maybe you're trying to explain to other people, maybe it's an interview is in your future, where you can explain to other people who you are and what you have to offer their company. And in this case, you're dependable and you're reliable. And it could be that on Monday with the Three of Swords, is that what someone was suggesting you were not? That you were not maybe somebody that could be trusted to be dependable or reliable, and to be a good worker? Or if they all knew you were vying for a new position, you were interviewing for a new position there, a supervisory one, are people trying to suggest you're not capable of doing that when in fact you are? Again, it's the agenda that people have when they want to knock you off your position and make people think that you're not who you say you are, and that who they've seen that you are isn't the case. And so I think that here we've stood our ground, but now it's clear that we need to start looking at other options, maybe. And with the understanding that you need to have that sort of dependability in your life as well. If the page isn't necessarily talking about the qualities you possess, these are the things you need. You need a job that you can depend on. You need a job that isn't going to have a bunch of people that are trying to harm you. So, and then conversely, if you're interviewing for another job, it's one that you need to convey those things to those folks so that they understand that you would be a welcome addition to their company. Now, to the card that challenges, well, the Eight of Swords. Now, you can look at this from an other perspective. I tend not to, and I'm not going to in this case. Here you have a woman who's bound and blindfolded. There's been a lot going on. She's wearing a red gown and there's red soppy sand around her. So this has been a bit of a battle. And she's basically standing her own ground, but she's surrounded either by her own perceptions that are getting in the way or the perceptions of others. And so again, I think here the challenge is very similar to this, but here it's not to get in the way of herself. All right? To let her own perceptions get in the way of whatever it is she needs to accomplish here. And so in other words, you don't stay stuck in them. That was the nice part about the 10 of, was it the 10 of swords? I think so. Yeah, the 10 of swords. That was the nice part about that. You see the sun is returning, the light is returning. You don't see the sun, but you see the golden sky, and you see the night lifting. Yes, the person is dead on the ground with all those swords stuck in there, but these are perceptions that are not suitable any longer. They're not. So I think that the Eight of Swords realistically is going to reinforce the 10 of Swords. Only in this case, it's saying don't get in the way of your own perception. Don't get in the way of your own decisions. Don't get in the way of what needs to happen here. And what needs to happen is you need to explore other options. But what will benefit then? The last card. Let's do. I think I'm going to take the 13th one for that, so we can be completely random, so my shuffling doesn't interfere with anything here. So let's count 13, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I used to take the 13th card each time for the reading, each time I drew a card. But that got to be too much. Here we have the World. You see the hermetic expressions of the elements, the 4 elements in each corner. You see the lemnis gates above and below on the oh, whatever you call this thing. It's a garland, but I think there's an actual name for when it's a circular one. But I don't remember what that is. Anyway, instead of one scroll that you see with the magician holding it high, you see 2 here. We have balanced polarity. Things have come full circle. It's about success. So if we're willing to let go then of it's basically completion, synthesis. Synthesis would definitely be depicted with the garland and also with the lemnis gates, the figure 8s there. It's a 3 energy for the card. For 21, it's a 3 energy. So mind, body, spirit, balance. Wholeness, unity. It's the last card of the major arcana, so we begin with the Fool taking the leap of faith into form, where the magician, again, that's where we see this same scroll or wand or whatever you want to call it. I view it as a scroll, but because that's to me what it looks like, but some interpret it as wands. But the magician is the one that makes the experience, that creates the physical body. The high priestess is the one then that comes in and creates the unconscious. And so together that, the soul of the Fool is infused into their creation. And then from there, that elemental type of thing, energetic type of a thing, and then down through the abyss they go, and the Empress gives birth to the individual. Okay, so that's the line of of how all that happens, and then you start to move into other issues with the Emperor, and from there on through the world. But it is the completion of the Fool's journey into form. And realistically, this person is considered androgynous, even though it looks like a woman. And so the Fool comes full circle. And so if you apply that idea to your life and to the reading both Monday and today, we've come full circle perhaps. And sometimes there has to be an impetus for change. And perhaps the betrayal was the impetus for change. So what I think is happening here is that, excuse me, we're awakening. I think I forgot all about my tea. I could be drinking my tea, right? But if you're talking about career, sometimes it's like we hang on to something, you know, we hang on to a job where it's not satisfying us. And then all of a sudden something will happen and then you've got to make a decision, right? And sometimes I think that it's either something has built up to the point that you can no longer ignore it. And that's likely what this has been. Generally speaking, when you have this level of betrayal with the Three of Swords, this is something that's been an ongoing thing. You just maybe have not wanted to see it because you can't believe it's happening or what have you. Excuse me. But be thankful if you don't have cottonwood trees. I have them, and they're horrible. They get really big and they shade you nicely, but they shed and once a year. And one year we had it twice. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. It didn't do very much the first time, so it did it a second time. But the idea is that you really know that this is happening, but then something comes to a head, basically. And that's what I think happened with the Three of Swords. And it forces you to take a look at what's really going on and whether or not you can even work within it. You know, sometimes the only option is to move on, to walk away, if you can't figure out a way to deal with it. So if you can't, and maybe the new opportunity is somewhere else and not somewhere within the company, you know, but the idea that now you have to stand your own ground and suddenly you see things for what they are, maybe. And I think it just feels to me like the decision is you're going to do something else. And with Perthrow, I think it's true. You know, you cannot go along with the crowd because there's too much of a chance to bury your head in the sand when you do that. It's real easy to just go along with the flow, right? And get along to go, you know, go along to get along, right? Well, unfortunately, that sort of choice builds a mindset, a group mindset, if you will, that contributes to stasis instead of being able to move outside of something. And I think that that's what we're saying. If we want to see completion, synthesis, reward with the world, then we need to take a look at what's really going on and maybe make a different choice. All right. Don't get in the way of and bring faulty perception into the mix. So don't let that get in the way of what you need to do. See it clearly. See that there are options out there and control your own fate. So I think that's it. That's pretty cool. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by. I hope you click subscribe. Click the like thing too. They're saying, oh, you got to do that. Remind people to do that. It's like, okay. Whatever. But anyway, thanks for coming by. And check out the Esoteric Influences on Sunday. There'll be a video for that. Plus, it goes up on the blog as well. And if you want to get it in your inbox, and sometimes I put other stuff in it as well, I do a newsletter, and you can sign up. There's a link to my blog below here also to where the newsletter is. And it's on the side panel of the blog, the sign up is. Just kind of scroll down a little bit, and you'll see it. Just put your email in there, and it goes to my email software, or rather my newsletter software. And then I do the newsletter and send it out. So you can get the esoteric and magical influences in your inbox on Saturday night if you want that. Otherwise, just come back to the blog and read it there. Let's see. So then magical forecast. The forecast goes out Monday through Friday on the blog. Also, there's a magical correspondences things for Patreon members. If you want to join me over there, it's $1 a month. Let's see, to do that. There's daily forecast, at daily esoteric forecast on Medium. I do that. But in any event, other links on social media where I'm at are below the video. And so I hope to see you other places. So anyhow, thanks a lot, and have a good weekend. And we'll meet again on Monday for another edition of Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. So be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.